This video angered a lot of Nintendo fanboys and this triggered a lot of them, okay? And they tried to justify the price increases still. And also the CEO of Nintendo America, he is trying to justify the price increases of Nintendo. So today I'm going to be covering first the CEO of Nintendo America, Doug Bowser, his justification for price increases, and the Nintendo fanboys. So if you're a fanboy of Nintendo, you're not going to like this video. I'm going to make it very clear. So I'm going to be covering the CEO first. So what he said, he says, "We recognize there are some people who may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available, so people still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe, be part of these characters in these worlds, and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in." Oh boy, we're having deja vu again.
It's a great line for games. Yeah, and I think people are going to love it, and then they're going to understand what we're trying to create and how it links games and entertainment, the functionality of the box, some of the advantages that you get of having a box that is designed to use an online state. So that, to me, is a future-proof choice, and I think people could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it, and fortunately we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360, that's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. I mean, seriously.
This didn't turn out well for Xbox when they lost the lead to Sony ever since when it comes to consoles. And we will see if this doesn't turn out well for Nintendo either, because this is not a very good PR statement that kind of comes off as saying we don't want poor gamers. If you don't like the prices, then buy the hand-me-down console. That wasn't very well thought out, but that was their justification for the price increases, despite it being not well explained. In my opinion, I think the real reason why Nintendo's doing this is because they think that you'll come and buy it anyways, regardless if they increase the price or not, with their brand power. Kind of like in the 90s, as I mentioned in the last video. And just to further strengthen this point, there's a paragraph from a news article when they asked Doug Bowser just with how successful they think the Switch 2 will be. He said, the paragraph says, "Bowser wouldn't share target numbers, but Nintendo believes the Switch 2 can be as successful as its immediate predecessor. That's a high bar, as the original Switch has sold more than 150 million units worldwide, making it the third best-selling games console of all time." So Nintendo, they think they're too big to fail. Okay, so that's the main reason why they are increasing the prices, in my opinion. Another point Fanboy brought up is the cost to host these services. So I'm just going to say this as someone who's been programmed for 10 years. This is a load of bullcrap, okay? So first off, every digital purchase you have in the Switch, Nintendo, they get about a 30% cut, okay? It varies depending on the platform, but it's usually about 30%, okay? In every single software purchase you make. The digital games in the Nintendo eShop, the DLC, etc., okay? Anything you buy, 30% goes to Nintendo. They are not strapped for cash just from that software revenue alone, okay? Because Apple, who charges a similar kind of fee with their app store, they make billions and billions of dollars every year off of these kind of fees. So Nintendo, they're not strapped for cash, okay? Also, the second point is with the programming languages and tools, they get faster every single year, okay? Including the CPUs. Why is that important? Okay, the faster your web services are, usually the more users you can handle, which means less servers you need to rent to get the same exact thing done. And in addition to the prices of storage getting even lower, okay? And regardless of which tool they're using, because even Python, which is criticized for its speed, is still getting a lot faster. The prices for that are significantly decreasing, so that means their profitability is increasing every single day they put that thing up on the store, and including with the software revenue. And also the third and final point, is look at Blizzard, okay? They got 30-year-old games that require online services, and those things are still up and running. But Nintendo, They brick their online services every 5 to 10 years. Okay, and Blizzard can do it. Okay, so can Nintendo. And as in the mentioned video where people keep bringing up inflation, there's also other factors with technological advances that put downward pressure on the cost of developing video games because they're able to make programmers and artists more productive. So here's an example with Google, just with the programmer side of things. 1/4 of all their code is written by AI. Okay, and everything is still just fine. And it's probably even more so at a bunch of other tech companies where people kind of over exaggerate, but like a lot of code is just written by AI alone. And then if you also try to use this with like asset generation, specifically like where it makes the most sense, such as like props, okay, like you're probably can even nail even greater yields of efficiency. I'd probably say at least half or 50% of cost when it comes to artists and this kind of stuff, because you're able to get more out of artists. You're not going to replace artists, and you're never going to replace them, but you're definitely able to make get more out of the artists that you do have. Make one work like 10, just as I said in the last video. So, unfortunately, sorry, Nintendo fanboys. Those are like, there's not really a justification for their price increases, and Nintendo, they're just really taking advantage of your nostalgia and your love for their video games, which, look, they have good video games, but it's not really a good excuse to defend Nintendo on this one. Okay. Also, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe if you want to hear more. I'm working on a video game myself for fun. So outside that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe and comment your thoughts down below, and have a good day, and don't forget to be civil in the comments.